Hey, this is Robert Radcliffe with the Radcliffe Group at Sotheby's International Realty. I'm really excited about talking to you about a topic here, the importance of a great escrow company. So with that said, let me first introduce my guest. I wish there was like theme music that came in, like house music. Dun, dun, dun. It's Galen Gonzalez with 805 title. Welcome. Great to have you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So, and I want to compliment you also. If you weren't even here, I talk great about you.
Thanks, Rob.
Like, I think I'm a pretty smart guy.
Yeah, you're a smart guy.
I am a smart guy.
You're a smart guy.
You're really smart.
Oh, thank you.
You are. Very impressed with you as far as contract knowledge, overseeing the escrow process with the escrow officers, but just the overall optics that you bring to the table.
Thank you so much. No, I love it.
Clap.
I mean, love
Golf
it.
clap.
Love
And I always tell my team that, like, hey, if we have a technical question, get Galen on the phone.
It's my happy place. I love it. Yeah.
No, you're really, really good.
Thank you.
So one of the reasons I wanted to bring you to the camera and talk is that, it's interesting. I've done hundreds of escrows, and sometimes clients will know someone, or they're like, oh, I can get this discount escrow company.
Right.
And, like they're the Sears of Roebuck of escrow companies, right? And thinking it's kind of like a one-size-fits-all when it's not.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And especially when there's high stakes involved.
Yeah.
And that's where I'll tell my clients, like, please don't. No. Let me please choose escrow company. Like, this is, you might not think it's a big deal.
Right.
It's kind of like a silly example. It's like you can go out to sea on a boat and it can be calm seas and no big deal.
Right.
Anyone could have, like, captained that boat.
Sure.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But what if you hit a storm?
Yeah, and you're playing in high price points. So when there's a problem, you're dealing with a lot of money.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
And when you hit a storm,
right,
you're out there at sea, you can't just go back to shore really quick.
Nope.
And start over.
Nope.
So let's talk about that one semi-recent transaction that we did.
Yep.
Right, in Malibu.
Yes.
It was a land purchase. And tell us a little bit about this is where the big difference comes in.
Sure.
Because I was representing the buyer.
Mm-hmm.
The seller's agent was a reputable Malibu agent.
Sure.
Good guy.
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for him. Nice guy. But somehow he was fooled.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Big time.
Sure.
Big time. And so tell us a little bit about what you started seeing and bringing to my attention that we both started going, there's problems in paradise here.
Yep. So I think the first issue that came up was the fact that the listing agent had never met the seller, which that in itself is unusual. But if there was a telephone call or a Zoom meeting, if a seller had to sell while they were out of the country or on vacation, or maybe they had already relocated, I could rationalize that. But when there's no conversation at all, there's been no verbal communication with the seller, and the only interaction has been via email. And
there's a red flag.
The listing agent had a DocuSign contract, which is not unusual, but in combination with those other things, red flag number one.
Right. And that's, again, where you started calling me and started sharing with me. And by the way, that's like above and beyond. I mean, the public needs to know that. Like, that's above and beyond, where you get a call from the owner of an escrow company and starts saying, hey, by the way, something seems a little funny here.
Right.
And so you were bringing it to my attention, and you did more homework.
Yeah.
And more homework. Tell us a little bit more about that homework that you did.
Sure. So the next red flag was the fact that the seller had an email address that was, I think it was in Mandarin characters, but they had given their listing agent a passport from Denmark.
Right.
So that didn't quite add up.
Right.
And then the seller had said that they were on business in Vietnam and that they wanted their proceeds wired to a bank account in Vietnam. So that didn't make sense, because when we do business trips, right, we don't go open bank accounts in foreign countries. We want our money at our home bank.
Right.
So those were the other major issues.
Right. Yeah, and that's, again, so you were bringing to my attention. Then I was checking with the listing agent, and he was just dumbfounded. He had no answers. No, again, great guy, but he was like, huh? Like,
sure.
Really? What's going on? All right, well, tell me more later when you figure this out.
Right.
And again, so money had been opened up in escrow.
Yep.
but a lot more money was going to be deposited in escrow because it was an all-cash transaction.
Right.
And that's no joke. You saved the deal. You saved not the deal. You were able to cancel the deal,
Sure.
which saved the client
Right.
a ton of money.
Oh, yeah, it's so scary. And unfortunately, it is really common. And I think that in certain areas, it's not as common, right? Because some of the triggers for these bad guys trying to sell properties that they don't own, it's vacant land. There's no loan on the property. So there's all these triggers that aren't necessarily in markets where there's super high price points, right? Those sellers are pretty knowledgeable, pretty on top of it. But this particular parcel had been sitting vacant for years. So it was an easy target.
Right. And here's the thing. This, as you mentioned, happens frequently.
Yeah.
This extreme example was kind of a first of like total fraud.
Yeah,
right?
crazy.
But there's so many in-betweens, meaning that this is where escrow and title, which we'll talk later, with Sergio with 805 title, the benefits of having smart people involved.
Yeah.
And go above and beyond and know all the nuances to be looking for, or just the street common sense that you applied of going, there's no forms or manuals that you follow, right, in a situation like this. Sure. But it's like street smarts. Wait a second. That seems odd.
No. Yes, and the other, this is coming back to my memory here. The other odd piece of this puzzle was that, and you will know this as a listing agent, was that the listing agent had received a copy of the seller's passport. That's not common as a residential realtor for you to receive ID at all as a listing agent.
Right. We typically meet our clients and know them.
Exactly. And escrow or title, along the back end of the process, once it's in escrow, we're asking for ID and, statement of information and all of that stuff. Right. But it's not common for the listing agent to receive it.
Right. Yeah, again, this is like in a way, not to over dramatize and be overly theatrical, a heroic story because Edith, the client, single woman, ton of money, like I just would, oh my God. And she's actually became a good friend. We sold her other real estate. And it would have just been so devastating to find out, oh my God.
It's devastating.
You just wired over all that money to who?
Right.
And you don't own the property.
Right.
So the moral of the story is not only did you save the day for the client, and that's in itself a big deal, but for the public to understand, like, again, the difference that a great escrow company, brings to the table. And not that I really did much in that situation, but it's the difference of a great agent too, representation.
Yes, and listening. Like you have built a team around you, whether it's your assistants, it's your transaction coordinator, it's your title, it's your escrow. You've built the team you trust. You're relying on them to go above and beyond and do their job, and that's part of you being a great listing agent.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, but it is, right? And
Thank
you've surrounded yourself with, I'm sure, attorney advisors and advisors in all capacities, so that when they see something, you're relying on them to inform you. That's why you have them on your team.
Thank you.
So
appreciate that.
Props.
And you're part of that team.
Yeah,
you're
I
part
love
of the
it.
team.
Thank you.
You and 805 title, like and escrow, all part of the team. So that's again the moral of the story is, public. It's not. These are high stakes. These are big deals.
They are.
This is not a small purchase. It's not like, who cares where I get my car washed?
Right.
This is about multi-million-dollar transactions.
Yep.
And to have the right people involved that are going to watch every step of the way and protect you, the client, the public, from a nightmare that could have happened. Yeah. And all the other stuff, the minor stuff, not minor, but like easement issues or other problems that come up in title or escrows or delayed problems because an escrow company didn't work with the lender properly.
Sure.
And then there's buyers and sellers who have moving trucks, et cetera, and then they're notified the last minute. Sorry, we're all going to be late.
Sleeping in the driveway tonight.
Yeah. So anyhow, I want to thank you.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Because you're awesome at what you do. I love awesome people at what they do.
Thank you.
And you're one of them. And
part of the team.
Yeah, absolutely. So, obviously with any real estate transaction, I hope my team, the Radcliffe Group, and Robert Radcliffe, can be of service. And for any reason, another agent maybe that you're watching this, 805 Escrow. Why don't you plug your phone number, contact, and website?
Yep. So we're 805escrow.com, 805-557-8069. We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're fantastic. Thanks for watching. And we hope that we can be a part of your next transaction. I can be reached at 310-317-9900. And, of course, all credentials at robertradcliffe.com. Thank you.